Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Oh, man. Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello this morning. Good morning, my friends. How are you? It's Thursday, the Thursday edition of the Michael Dukes Show as we get ready to wind up the year. This is our final week of diving down into the political landscape of Alaska. Although there's really not a whole lot going on, which is again, it's good. It's good. I mean, there's some things here. We're going to talk about some stuff. I specifically want to talk a little bit more about what we touched on Monday, which has to do with the legislative priorities meeting that the Fairbanks North Star Borough held up there last week, talking about what they wanted to see, what they wanted out of the legislature. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And specifically, we're going to get down into some discussions on what's going on with the with some of the asks, including the AKREADS Act. That plays a part in this, and you can already see kind of the narrative being formed on this, and it's going to be kind of an interesting discussion. Let's just put it that way. But also, because I got a couple people requested this during the week, and since I don't have any guests for today, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for it. I also am going to open up the phone lines right now. And I want to encourage you, if you're listening right now, no matter where you are, to call in and talk about whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind today. 319-527-3864. And no, that's not just because I don't have any guests and there's not a lot of news. That's part of it. That's part of it. I just, talking with listeners is one of my most enjoyable, things about this show. I just love to kind of hear what you guys have to say. And I love, to find out where your head's at. Sometimes we're completely on opposite sides of the coin, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think that is, that's fantastic. But I love to have those conversations. So the phone lines this morning are ready to go, rocking and rolling, wide open, 319-527-3864. And so we'll interrupt whatever I'm doing today, whatever I'm talking about. We'll interrupt that and we'll hang out together and talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. So feel free to throw your hat in the ring, so to speak, and let's get it going on. A little chilly here this morning, about 12 degrees on top of the world in Homer, Alaska. 18 degrees up in Anchorage, so it's a little warmer, surprisingly, in Anchorage. Been pretty chill up in the Fairbanks area. Let's see, it's 11 degree chick, reported by David. 9 degrees out in the Matsu is reported by Rick, and Corey says it's 23 below in Fox up out north of Fairbanks. My dad's been saying it's been 30 below up at the house where they live, which is unusual because usually they're above the inversion, and they're usually untouchable up there, and usually it stays a lot warmer where they're at than than anywhere else. But been a little chill up there. Debbie just said downtown in Fairbanks, 31 below and dropping. Anthony also says 32 below. He wins today. He's get the lowest so far. But the weather at least seems to have solidified and stopped with the wind and the massive, whatever. But it's that global warming, as Brian says. It's the global warming. That's what's getting us. It's all okay. It's all okay. But you guys can keep all that sub-zero. You guys can keep all that sub-zero stuff because I don't want it. I don't want it. I like it where I'm at. I just like it right here. All right. Let's see. I guess we should do yeah. Sorry. Kevin McCabe just said, what's on my heart? Because I'm asking you guys to come on and talk in and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I said, well, call in and talk about what's on your heart. He says, what's on my heart? If you want loyalty or a friend in politics, get a dog. I'll be honest with you. There's been many a times over the years where people have said, boy, you should really just you should run for office, which I did in the local politics. And I'll be honest, that was enough for me. But they're like, you should run for the House. You should run for the Senate. You should. And I'm just like, man, I just don't play well with others. I just couldn't do that. That would just be, it would just be too much. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be able to do it. There would be a lot of throat punching involved, right? That's kind of where we're at. There would be a lot of throat punching involved. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that person. I mean, I do not want to be that person. And so I'm just glad. I'm glad somebody's decided to take the bull by the horns. I feel like I can do a lot more good on the outside of the political bubble than I could inside the political bubble. It's crazy. So anyway, yeah, phone lines are open if you want to call in. 319-527-3864. Housekeeping. What do we got here to remind you of? Oh, the holiday recipe contest is up. And let's see what great and fantastic. I don't know why it tries to filter out all the comments. Great and fantastic recipes that have been put up on the websites right now. This is a Facebook recipe contest, and you can just post your favorite family recipes. And again, if somebody says, "Oh, I'm bringing a bottle of wine," that's my favorite. I mean, haha. Okay, I get it. I know you're funny. It's all good. But the what I'm really looking for is your family recipes that, make your holiday meal a little unusual, or a favorite. I see my wife has posted a couple recipes. She can't win. I'll be honest with you guys. You can like her recipes all day long, but she can't win. All right. So, but my wife has posted her rum cake recipe, which I had a piece last night. Amazing. It's amazing. It's absolutely delicious. And her secret kiss cookies, which are also a Christmas favorite, absolute Christmas favorite. Amy has, Chris put together a broccoli casserole, which, man, I love me some broccoli. That sounds delicious. And Amy didn't label her recipe here. I have to look at it real quick. Milk, butter, flour, salt, pepper, sugar, onion powder, sour cream, French style green beans, cornflakes, cheddar cheese, and is this like a green bean style casserole? Butter and flour and pepper and sugar and onion powder, and then sour cream, and then the French style green beans, and then cornflakes, and then cheddar cheese. This is like a cheesy green bean casserole. This is what it looks like. It sounds good. I mean, I'd try that for $1. right? So anyway, a handful of recipes up there. You only have until next Friday. Only until next Friday to put a recipe up there, and you get a chance to win a 6 o'clock club coffee mug, and I'll probably have to dig out some beard curler coffee for somebody as well. So, but anyway, you go out there and post your recipes. I mean, this is just an excuse for me to steal all your recipes. You know that, right? I mean, that's just kind of, it's my unsubtle way of finding all those things and getting it out there. All right. So anyway, that's up at the Facebook page. You can find that at facebook.com/Michael Duke Show. It's just right there at the top of the page. It says holiday recipe contest. It's got pictures of ham and cookies and Brussels sprouts. And I mean, just, it's a big table. Just, you'll find it. Just go over there and do it. All right, I got some more housekeeping stuff to get to, but let's go over to the phones because that's more fun than me talking. And let's see what you guys have to say this morning as we get things ready to rock and roll. Good morning. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Mike. This is Mike in Fairbanks.
Good morning, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm calling because I apparently need help getting into your chat room. I've tried all over your website and I can't figure out how to get into the chat.
Do you have a Facebook account or a YouTube account?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, but I haven't tried to enter your site through Facebook, I don't think.
Okay. Well, Facebook is the easiest one. Just go to Michael Duke. Just go to facebook.com/Michael Duke Show. And you'll see that it's got a little live, okay. There's a little live icon there on the front of the page. And when you click on it, it'll take you right into the live show. And you'll see it. It's a live broadcast. Or you can go to YouTube and search up my name on YouTube. And you can click there. It'll be show that I'm broadcasting live there as well. So either one of those will get you into the chat room. It's simple. It's
okay.
Easy.
I'll work on that.
All right. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, sometimes I guess it's as simple an interaction as that. People are looking for. All right. And I'd invite you out to join the chat room. If you've never done it before, you're listening on the radio and you're like, oh, pick up your phone. If you've got, I'm sure most of you have Facebook app. Just look up, just look up Michael Duke Show and come on board. Ken over on YouTube just said, I have a gun question, but I'm not sure if I should call in today or wait until tomorrow. Ken, whatever's on your heart, man, whatever you feel like. I mean, I am so loosey-goosey here at the end of the year about rules and regs. If whatever you want to call about, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. 319-527-3864 if you want to call in and talk. I see Miguel's on the line. Miguel, I know you're there. Hold the line for just a second. Because I'm coming up on the break, and I still haven't told people or reminded people that, again, because we are coming up at the end of the year, and this week is going to be the last real serious week of the show. And we're going to do, oh man, Brian just dropped a good idea in the chat room. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I will be off the air from December the 22nd through New Year's, and I'll be returning to the airwaves on Monday, January the 5th. So I just want to remind you guys, remind y'all that that's what I'll be doing over the course of the holidays. I'll still be here, I'll still be working, but the show's going to be on hiatus because, we all need a little bit of a break. I think you need a break from me as much as I need a break from politics because, just sleep in a little bit. It'll be fine. Also, don't forget that if you're down in the Southern Peninsula area, that on the 21st of October, we're going to be presenting, the radio stations here, presenting a showing of the Muppet Christmas Carol at the Porcupine Theater. So I hope that if you live down here within driving distance of Homer, that you'll come join us on the 21st of December at 1:00 at the Porcupine for that. Because my family, we're all going to be down there watching that with everybody else. So there you go. Yeah, Harold, if you want to talk about biscuit recipes, feel free to throw it out there. Whatever it's whatever Thursday. All right, hold it. I'm going to be right back. You're going to be up next. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking, whatever radio. That's what we're at today. We're at whatever radio. Back with more right after this.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay. Welcome back to the program. Kim, I can see you. He said, just wanted to know if Facebook banned me. No, Kim, I've been seeing your stuff all day, all week. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My dad's in the chat room. Hello. Remember, awesome random sidebar. If you have Amazon Prime Video, the first 2 seasons of Rogue Heroes are free to watch. Awesome show about the SAS commandos in World War II. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. We'll see what we'll just get back to it. Renee says she lost sound. Reboot, meaning close your browser and start fresh. Somebody tell her that in the chat room, will you? Somebody tell her that. I don't feel like talking about it right now. Oh, it's a green bean casserole. Okay. That's what I thought. After I reading it, Amy said it was a green bean casserole. After I read it, that's what I figured out it was. So she just went over and fixed it. But you guys, man, there's like 5 recipes up there, and 3 of them are my wife and I's. I'm giving you all my Christmas, my favorite holiday recipes. And you guys are just, I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean, Harold didn't even put up his biscuit recipe. What's up with that? Or his chicken recipe, or whatever he squawks about most of the time. And then I guess nobody on Facebook wanted to tell Renee to reboot. Ken did over on YouTube. Thank you, Ken. He could follow instructions. Restart the app. There you go. All right. I just sent Renee okay. French toast, man. Again, bread pudding. Oh, and I've got to get the Christmas crepes recipe. My daughter was asking me, she can't find her copy of the Christmas crepes recipe, so I got to go dig it out of my email, or I've got it. It's one of those things where you're just like, I got all these recipes and I just can't remember where I put them all. Or in our case, we moved and there was like a box that had all the Christmas, it was a box and a binder. And I mean, who are we kidding? It was a stack of printed papers that was inside of a box, inside of a book in the cabinet in the kitchen, and can't find it. So anyway, yeah. Focaccia bread, sourdough, can do anything with my wife's, one of the local restaurants here, River Cafe. They were kind enough the first time I met them, and we were talking about different things, and they had sourdough pancakes and sourdough. I'm like, man, I love sourdough. We used to have a thing and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he ended up giving me some of his sourdough starter, which is named Matilda. And I brought it home to my wife, and that was a year ago. And she's still, the starter's sitting in the oven right now, just with the light on, just staying warm and toasty and ready to go. And she makes bread about every 2 or 3 days. She makes a fresh loaf of sourdough. Good. So good. It's amazing. So yeah, sourdough anything is good in my opinion. Plus it's better for you. A sourdough bread with the stuff in it, it's great. It's great. All right. We are, so Harold's throwing chicken recipes in the chat room. You just can't follow directions, can you? I mean, you just, come on, man. It's a thing. But Brian, this is a brilliant plan. Brian says we should create a 6 o'clock club cookbook proceeds go to the Assault Penguin Retirement Home. Yes. Yes. I think that was it. I mean, yeah, I like it. I like it. Even sourdough steel. Yeah, sourdough's good for everything. Even sourdough steel. Where is he this morning? I haven't seen him this morning. Jalapeno cheddar. Ooh, guys are getting me. All right. Well, phone lines are cranking open here. Let's just get to it. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. I ring the bell. And I don't know why, but Fairbanks is here. And so's the other one. Hey, guys.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
I mean, don't try and make sense of it. I mean, we're a hot mess this morning and proud of it. Miguel is on the line from Fairbanks. Let's go over there and see what Miguel has to say. Good morning, my friends. Merry Christmas. How are you doing today? What's on your mind?
Merry Christmas to all. I just want to say I'll probably end up putting something in your holiday thing before I head out on vacation. My French toast breakfast, where you melt some vanilla ice cream, use it as batter for the French toast, dip it in, and then put it on and cook it, and add a little vanilla and cinnamon, and there you go. That's a good French toast breakfast.
That sounds amazing, man. I mean, who doesn't want a little ice cream for breakfast? And then you got French toast on top of it, which is one of my favorite. I hardly ever eat it. Maybe once a year I have French toast but it is so good. It sounds delicious. That sounds great. And wait, you're going to tease us with you're going on vacation. Don't I just recall that you just came back from vacation somewhere? Are you vacationing?
Yes, sir. You are correct.
You are correct.
We were in Hawaii. And
okay.
Now we're headed out.
Okay. And now you're headed out again. Man, lifestyles of the rich and famous. It must be good to be you. I hope you guys are enjoying your Christmas time.
It's called hardworking and saving money.
Yeah, no, exactly. What else is on your mind today, Miguel? I know that you were pushing for a big open line today. So what are you thinking? What's on your heart for the end of the year here?
End of the year, I just want everybody to let's not forget the simple things. Not only it's the Christmas season, but as we do up here in the interior, and I'm sure it's Alaska, let's not forget our neighbors. Say hello, whatever. So, because when we all get back, when we all back again New Year's, the fires are going to be started with the legislative session starting and the governor's bill coming out on Monday.
Yeah,
the fireworks are about to happen, and everybody's just remember the basics. Remember, we're all family, and
Remember, we are all one human race. I was thinking about this the other day, Miguel, and I was thinking that, you and I probably have more in common with our neighbor who may be on the opposite side of the political spectrum, but we probably have more in common with them than we do with somebody on Team Red in Washington, D.C., right? I mean, we have more in common with the people down the street than we do with the people in Texas or New Orleans or Washington, D.C. or Chicago or L.A. or any other place. And we need to remember that because, again, it's divisiveness that causes, that has been causing a lot of this strife in the country over the last 20 years. And I'm not saying that we don't talk about things that are important, but, the ad hominems and just the people losing their minds and attack. Just remember, these people are your neighbors. And you may disagree on some things and maybe some important things, but there's a lot of things that you have in common, a lot more than probably separate you, right?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And, just want to tell folks, no matter where you're at in Alaska, there's always something to do in the interior. There's a lot of stuff going on. We got the holiday bazaar this weekend. We got some, other stuff going on. So get out, enjoy yourself with the family. And, some things are absolutely for free admission. So get out and go, have some bundle up, have some hot cocoa, and I remember when I was young, we used to go knock on the neighbor's door and we would sing Christmas carols, and then either get hot chocolate or something, and then they would join us, and then we'd go on to the next door at the neighbor's house and just sing Christmas carols. And sometimes it's that senior citizen that may be alone that day that you make them smile because they remember their childhood when they used to do that.
Well, and find different things. I mean, you educated me on Three Kings Day, which I hadn't heard about, and maybe had heard about it in passing, but I didn't really understand what it was. I think it's a fantastic idea, which is, for those of you who missed our discussion with Miguel before, Three Kings Day is on the 6th of January, and it's a celebration of the wise men finally making it to Bethlehem, you know what I mean, and giving gifts. And I think it's a fascinating one. And then there was another one that I just heard about this week. One of my clients here in Homer has a Mexican restaurant, and they're doing Los Posados, which is that's when Mary and Joseph were trying to find housing. They were trying to find an inn. I'm sorry, no room at the inn. You go to the manger. But it's a celebration, and they're doing that this weekend down at their restaurant here in Homer. And I'd never heard of Los Posados either. So I'm learning. I just feel really great this year because I'm learning about all kinds of new things from different cultures that I'd never hear, all ways to celebrate the birth of our Lord. And it's very cool. So we can
I'll
always
be down in the Kenai in May, so maybe I'll bring you some lumpia or some.
Oh man, you got to bring me some. You got to bring me some grub, baby. You got to bring me some of the good,
maybe some of that pork shoulder I told you I made.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. All right, Miguel. Well, Merry Christmas to you and yours. And if you don't put up that French toast recipe, I'm gonna have to hunt you down and hurt you. Okay, I'm just gonna say because that sounds delicious.
Merry Christmas to all and Happy New Year. Remember, don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Uber, Lyft, do whatever you need to.
Yep.
Just make it a safe Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Miguel. Appreciate you calling in and joining us. And Merry Christmas to you, by the way, as well. Ken was on the line, but Ken just dropped off the line. So I don't know if Ken, I know Ken had some questions, but it's going to be good stuff. All right. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. Feel free to dial us up today and talk about it. What else was there was something else that I was going to throw out there under the housekeeping banner, and I've forgotten what it was already. It's that kind of, it's that time. Oh, I remember what it was. There was a problem I actually got several messages. I got several messages from listeners that the podcast for Tuesday was not up. And I just want to let you know, if you're listening, that I got it back up. I had to re-upload it. I don't know why. Something went wrong, but the podcast is there. And that's how a lot of folks listen to the show. They don't listen live while we're live on the air because they've got jobs or conflicts, or they're just sleeping in. Good for them. But you can find the podcast wherever you find good podcasts. And that's, of course, Google, Castbox, Stitcher, Spotify. That's my favorite one. Apple, iTunes, wherever you go do it here and enjoy it. And that's the way to go. Okay. Richie just said, having been here only 5 years, and if I remember correctly, Richie came originally from Minnesota, Tim Walt's country. But he said, having only been here about 5 years, I've noticed a stark difference between Alaskans and the people of the lower 48. Here, while we don't all agree on everything, you quickly realize your neighbors can still be your allies. Here, it seems people are more concerned about not getting a moose hoof to the head, going to the mailbox, or getting eaten by a bear rather than worrying about what candidates' yard signs you display. I love it here. So, yeah, that's the same thing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You have more in common with your neighbors here than you do with people who are supposedly on your team, probably on the other side of the country. All right. Just remember that, man. Just remember that as you go through. Okay. Let's see. What else? What else do I have here? I guess we could start to get into the news stories Although I'm loving the interaction with listeners. I think that's a fantastic way to. But I guess we should start talking a little bit here about some of the couple of the news stories here that are kind of bugging me. Now, one of them we touched on earlier in the in the week, and that was this meeting that was held this last Thursday, a week ago today, between the Fairbanks North Star Borough and the Interior Alaska delegation, the lawmakers, the legislators, right? And the headline reads from the Fairbanks Daily News Miner, Jack Barnwell was the writer on this. The headline reads, Joint Assembly Lawmaker Session highlights grim fiscal picture. Apparently Jack gets it. I mean, he gets that. He understands that this is, yes, it is truly a grim fiscal picture that we're looking at this next year. Okay. But apparently the lawmakers and the assembly members, they don't get that. They don't get that because, again, we can go back through some of the comments. But again, what are they looking for? What are the highlights? Well, they want reimbursement, 100% reimbursement for their school bond debt. They want new capital improvement projects. They want more money for education. They want to, they're looking heavily at how can they tap into your property taxes. Grier Hopkins talked about the exemptions for seniors and veterans and everybody else, and said those exemptions account for $1 billion in property value that the borough can't assess. Man, just, you could just see that he really, really, really wants to, Anyway, but one of the biggest discussions that took place, which Jack really didn't touch on, was an interchange between Armstrong Garrett and Rob Myers, which again just highlights where things are going and what the talking points are for this upcoming session. And by talking points, I mean the pitch. You already saw it earlier on in the year when people were like, hey, great, we won the fight over this last year over the BSA. And look, we got another $600, $700 on the BSA. And that's a good start, right? So now you knew they were coming for another bite at the apple. And you could already see the kind of the talking points lining up, and they're going to go back around. One of the things that they're going to talk about is the READS Act. And they're going to talk about how the READS Act is underfunded or unfunded or either or both, and how it's such a good thing, but it really needs to be funded. And I think Rob Myers had probably one of the most show-stopping comments during this discussion. And we're going to play that up next. Plus, David Boyle, who writes for the Alaska Story, has got an article up talking about the Alaska READS Act again, and asking what's going on in Anchorage. Because the Alaska READS Act, through the scores on the AK Star Test, the Alaska READS Act has been showing some marked improvement pretty much everywhere that it's been implemented, except for Anchorage. What's going on? What's happening? Ask some questions there, and I think that is a fantastic question. So we should be talking about that here in just a minute. But also, again, phone lines are open. 319-527-3864. Whatever it is that you want to discuss, well, here's the time to do it. Bring it up to us here. We'll be back. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We return with more right after this. Merry Christmas.
running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay. Let's go over here. About Ms. Byrne Quinn says Firearms Friday should have a regular show on silencers. I mean, I'm not opposed to having a show about silencers or a regular show. I don't know about a regular show, but yeah. The borough already overassesses property. It's a good start. That's exactly why. Oh, that's what Miguel said. That's exactly why many avoid doing any renovations to their home, because we all know what the assessors will do. Barbara says that Anchorage is not showing progress on the READS Act because Anchorage is not implementing it. Really, you know. David says, MD Suzanne has left out the demographic chart in my article. Check out your email for that chart. Means I got to start my email, David. Geez, you're making me do work this morning. And there we go. Okay. All right. I will take a look at it. Where is the students reading proficiency? Here's the, is that the, oh, there's the breakdown. Okay. Dark blue. Okay. Yeah, David, if you want to call in and talk about this, we could talk about it in the next segment for sure. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Fat Ray said, I moved here in 2017. What I've noticed is an increase in lunacy with a corresponding bluing of the elected officials. I mean, that's, excuse me. Goodness. That's the Californication, baby. That's the Californication factor. Okay. Happy New Year's. Ken says he's boycotting Christmas and going right to New Year's. All right, well, good for you. Good for you. All right. All right. All right. So I don't know what Harold's talking about. He kind of rambles sometimes, doesn't he? I just about kind of random things. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have to. I don't have time to go back and go through 53 comments to see where the rambling started. So Merry Christmas to you, Harold. Just Merry Christmas. He's off to iMart to get apparently a second pair of glasses for the ones that got chewed up. All right. I don't know what that means, man. What does that mean? What's going on? All right. I'm just looking at, why is this? Sorry, I got distracted by something else. Why is this off course? 2 minutes, and that's 2 minutes. Okay, no, we're good. I think we're good. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's do it. I'm also hearing that a lot as well. Pettit stated no more property taxes and sales taxes, but that has a condition as well. All right. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I am talking about Christmas. I watched one of my favorite Christmas shows, Christmas episodes last night. how you get certain shows that have a Christmas episode, and you're like, oh, we got to watch that every year. I mean, we talked a little bit about that during Thanksgiving with the Pangs episode from Buffy. There's the other one for the Christmas season, and it was fun as usual. So we'll talk about that on. I forgot which order I said I was going to do things, but we're going to do next week. We're going to do Christmas movies or shows that are kind of your tradition recipes, and we're going to do music on Tuesday. Oh, Thursday. That's what it was. I remember now. Man, I'm sometimes mind like a steel trap. I remember I've got a guest next week that I've been waiting on for a while, and we'll have to see what goes on there. All right, let's get back to it. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube-y things, etc., etc., etc. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
Okay. Let's do this thing. Welcome back. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. It's No Topic Thursday. You're right, 100%. No topics. Phone lines are open, 319-527-3864. We've been talking a little bit about the AKREADS Act and what was going on there. And I thought it was very interesting to watch this and to see this discussion going on last Thursday in Fairbanks at the sorry, my brain watching this thing go on here at the assembly meeting where they were talking with the legislators, and they're asking questions like, hey, what's going on with the legislative priorities? Oh, we want more money for everything. That's what we want. Hey, we don't have any money. Doesn't matter. Give us our $2. I swear to God, I'm going to clip out that sound clip from Better Off Dead, where the kid's chasing the guy around looking for his, I want my $2, right? Because that's what it feels like, man. It's like every time you turn around, I want my $2. So, but one of the most interesting exchanges during this whole thing was a discussion about the funding for schools in regards to the AKREADS Act. And you could see, now remember, this is the act, this is the Mississippi Miracle, right? That's what they called it. This is where Mississippi, they were at the bottom of the performance chart for their school achievement. And they created the READS Act, and they created some other reforms, and they were able to pull themselves out from the bottom with not a huge investment of money or anything else, just a change in policy and the way they did things. And they were able to pull themselves to the upper middle of the pack, right? That's what they were able to do. And so we here in Alaska, Shelley Hughes and company, tried for 5 years to get an Alaska READS, a Mississippi-style READS Act into the system. And they fought her tooth and nail. Finally, it gets passed with some bipartisan support. It finally gets passed, and they start to see some improvements. But you can already see the talking points. The first thing we heard was, oh, well, it's underfunded. It's an unfunded mandate. And I'm like, what? I mean, this is all, no, it's an unfunded mandate. And you could see that talking point is going to continue, and it's going to be one of the levers that they're going to try and use to get more money out of the legislature for schools in general. Donna Ardwin's in the chat room. She just said Mississippi copied Florida policies. So good for them. Hey, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right? They did great. Let's adopt it for ourselves. That's the thing. But anyway, so this conversation was going on between the assembly members and the legislature, and Garrett Armstrong was talking about the Alaska Reads Act, and you could see that this all led up to, he wanted to say it without saying it, we need more money. And I thought Rob Myers had one of the most show-stopping responses that I've ever heard. Here's what here's how the exchange went in the assembly chambers last Thursday.
Is that last year we got one of the highest, if not perhaps the highest scores in the Alaska Reads Act in law standards testing. I was a little part of that because even though PE teacher by day, I led a reading group, and that was excellent because anecdotally I saw 4 kids go from struggling with sentences to rereading chapter books.
This is
reading
Garrett
Stuart Little
Armstrong.
by the end in 1 year. That was a remarkable transformation. My question to you all is, what is being done about the Alaska Reads Act? Because say, based on the numbers we have at Woodward Elementary that my principal Grant Guy is proud to tap and has talked to some of you about, I believe, and I've seen anecdotally firsthand, it's working. So my question to you all is there, what are we doing at the state level next legislative session to make sure that success is repeated and expanded upon across Alaska?
Senator Myers. I'm not sure I understand the question. You're telling me it's working. I don't understand what you're suggesting needs to change.
Okay. I would like to see more funding for the Alaska Reads Act. I believe it is successful, like I said, both statistically according to our school and anecdotally, according to what I personally have seen and what I've heard from other teachers. But I've also heard it is not funded fully. So what can be done to increase that funding? Like I said, expand that success we're seeing locally and see it statewide.
So effectively what you're saying is, with the money that the state is spending on education, we can get the kids into school and we can keep them for 7 hours a day, but teaching them to read costs extra?
I'm sorry. So what you're saying is, with all this money, this $18,000 per student, keeping them for 7 hours a day, but teaching them to read costs extra? And of course, my favorite part of this whole thing is when Garrett Armstrong said, I've heard that it's not funded. From who? Well, from the teachers union. They told us it wasn't funded, and that's why they need more funding for it's unfunded. It's working. Wait, you're telling me it's successful? You're telling me it's successful. You're telling me it's working, but you want more money because somebody told you it's not being funded, but it's working. I'm so confused by this point. I am so confused. And by the way, when he's using anecdotally for his personal experience, that's not what anecdotal means. Anecdotal means somebody else's experience. Anyway, I have so many questions about this whole thing, right? And then on top of that, David Boyle just came out with a new article that it talks about the reading proficiency with the Alaska Reads Act across the state, and how in all these different districts, and David's on the phone, actually. I see David up there now on the phone. With all these different districts, they are all seeing great increases, except for Anchorage. Anchorage has actually gone backwards over the last 2 years. And I don't know if we should pick this up on the other side, but let's bring David on board here to get a synopsis here of what's going on. Good morning, David. How are you? Are you with me, David?
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm doing fine. Staying warm.
Yeah.
Being old.
Staying warm, being old. That's going to be my new mantra. I'm going to get a t-shirt. Being old, staying warm. So what, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at your article, and I don't know, we've only got a couple minutes here before the top of the hour, so maybe we should pick this up on the other side, but give me a brief thumbnail here, because it seems like every other district in the state has seen some significant gains from the Alaska Reads Act. And yet Anchorage, since 2023, where they started measuring this, is gone backwards. I mean, they're the only ones that are going backwards. Now, Barbara just said something in the chat room about them not implementing the Reads Act. So I don't know if that's true or not, but give me a quick thumbnail here.
Well, Michael, it is. So what I did is I looked at the big 5 school districts in Alaska: Kenai, Matsu, Fairbanks, Juneau, and Anchorage. And you're exactly right. all 4 of the big 5 school districts gained in their reading proficiency of third grade, marked only by third graders. The only one that went backwards was Anchorage. So the question is, what the hell is going on in Anchorage? And I listened to the school board meeting back in December 2nd. I listened to it yesterday, and it was nothing but a big bag full of excuses. We need more money. The teachers aren't trained. We need more professional development. But I love Rob Meyer's question. My question to him is, if you're not teaching kids to read, what the heck are you teaching them?
Right. What are you using all this money for if you're not teaching them how to read? I mean, this sounds like a prioritization issue more than anything else.
I don't know what's going on in Anchorage, but one excuse after another. One of the excuses is, we've lost a lot of the teachers that we've trained already, and therefore we need to increase salaries because of the retention of teachers is bad. So, but the other question you need to ask is, and Senator Myers needs to ask is, what's the colleges of education doing in the state of Alaska? Aren't they teaching the science of reading? And are they teaching it with fidelity or not? Because when a teacher graduates with a degree in education, the elementary teachers anyway, they should know how to teach the science of reading. But unfortunately, in the past, they have not been doing that. So we're paying the students are now paying, or have been paying the price for it for decades.
Right.
Then they question, maybe it's not a good metric, Andy Holloman, the former president of the Anchorage Teachers Union, he questions the cutoffs for proficiency and non-proficiency. He says, quote, "I think it would be helpful if we could convey to the public that a student that's not proficient still has a fair amount of skill." Well, yeah.
What?
Andy.
Okay. A fair amount of skill. What? Pushing a broom? Using a shovel?
Well,
I mean, all right, hold the line, David. Hold the line. I'm gonna put you back on hold because that. All right, back with more. The Michael Duke Show. Common Sense Radio. Hour 2 dead ahead. They're still got lots of skills. Holding up a broom. I mean, they can't count, they can't read, but they've got plenty of other skills. Here, go pick up that heavy thing and carry it over there. See, they're still skilled. Tawny in the chat room says, the teachers are not trained to teach a child to read? I mean, you'd think so, right? You'd think that they'd... Man, I mean, all I did when I was a kid was read. That's all I did. I remember my mom chastised me because I was reading books I was like, can you get me another book? That book is $3. You got to take your time with that because I was reading it so fast. Then I started stealing my dad's novels because I was like, I want to read something else. I got to get something else. What do I got? It's crazy. It's crazy. I love to read. I absolutely love to read, and I've been reading and I instilled that love of reading in every one of my kids. Every one of my kids was reading at a college level in junior high and high school. I mean, how do you not teach kids reading? It's amazing. It's just astonishing. Chris says, so you can graduate in Alaska without knowing how to read, write, and do math. Pretty much. I mean, again, you see what's going on with the colleges where these kids, they have to send them back to remedial math course just to be able to take a 100 level class. And we're already hearing how the reading, I mean, we're going to get into this with David here in the next segment, but I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I'm going to give you a tease here. In Kenai, the Kenai School District, from 23 to 25, the reading scores jumped up 5%. Okay, 5 points. Now, it's a little disappointing that 29.2% of the kids reading at proficiency was the score, and they're up to 34.3. Okay. The fact that this is all, what is this? This is third graders. The fact that only 34% of third graders are reading at grade level should still make you just go, why am I sending my kids to school? Right? That's a question. Matsu jumped 4.5 points from 23 to 25, 2023 to 2025. Fairbanks jumped almost a full 10 percentage points, 10 points in reading. That's pretty significant. Juneau jumped 3 points in the same year, and Anchorage dropped by almost 3 points. Of all the big school districts in the state, Anchorage, with the most students, with the most money, with the biggest systems and all the bells and whistles, went backwards. Somebody, is it just me, or shouldn't we all be asking the question of what are you doing with that money? I mean, that quote at the end from Rob is a perfect quote. So you're saying that you got them for 7.5 hours a day, and you need more. You're not teaching them reading. You need more money to teach them reading. That's what you're saying. Again, this seems like a prioritization problem to me. It really do. It really do seem like a priority position, a problem with prioritizing your spending. That's what it would seem like to me. I mean, come on. Come on. Seriously? You guys should all go over there and read this article by David. Let me drop a link to it in the chat room, and then we'll get back to David here in a second. Wait, what did you just? Today's unregulated fascist capitalistic system. What? What? Harold? I thought you were an unabashed capitalist, but today's unregulated fascist capitalistic system forces parents to struggle to make ends meet. Are you? Yeah, I know you're not blaming this on that again. You know what? I have no words. Never mind. It doesn't even, Louis L'Amour used to be the big read. Louis L'Amour was my childhood education. Louis L'Amour did more to shape me than any other author in my life. I think that's where I got my sense of common sense and fair play, and so many other. I mean, I don't even know what to say here. All right. David's been kind enough to hold while I've been blathering along. So David, we're going to get to you right away here on the other side. Yeah, I know. Again, capitalistic and fascistic are like opposite ends of the spectrum, but I guess words don't matter to Harold. Words don't matter. Somebody quoted early on in the show, it was Kevin that quoted the whole, if you want a friend in politics, get a dog. And then Harold comes up and complains, oh, well, that's so old. That comment is so old. Yet I've seen Harold make that comment like 5 or 6 times over the last year. I don't even know why I engage. Why do I engage? You guys, why do I engage that? Why? It just makes no sense to me. All right. Anchorage refused to do anything with the READS Act because it's an unfunded mandate, says Melissa. Ooh. Well, that explains a lot. All right. David Boyle's our guest. We're going to continue on here. Patrick F. McManus. Oh, man, that's some good stuff right there. All right, guys, we're going to be back. The Michael Duke Show.
Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at michaeldukeshow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Welcome to hour 2 of the fastest 2 hours in radio. It really is. I mean, this was a show about nothing today. Well, we've talked about a few things. We were talking about the Alaska Reads Act and some other stuff. But really, it just kind of flew right by. David Boyle's on the phone. He has written an article over at the Alaska Story, Suzanne Downing's new joint, talking about the Alaska Reads Act and why is Anchorage going in the wrong direction. We're going to get to that here just 1 second. I wanted to announce this because I forgot to do it in the last hour. Next week, joining me on Wednesday, and I know I said we were going to do all Christmassy kind of stuff, but it's not Christmassy, but it's not political. Rod Pyle from NASA and JPL is going to be joining us. Rod is a good friend of mine. He used to come on the program regularly to talk about space and space exploration and the current state of everything. And finally, for the first time, I'm back on the program. He's going to be with us tomorrow on next Wednesday, in the 7:00 hour. So Rod Pyle will help us finish up the year with some good stuff. That's after we do some Christmassy stuff in hour 1. But next Wednesday, 7 a.m., set your alarms or make sure you download the podcast with Rod Pyle, who's the author of a bunch of different books, including Blueprints for a Battle Star and all different kinds of books. Anyway, Rod Pyle is going to be joining us next week. So that I'm excited about that. I've been trying to get it back on the program for a while. Meanwhile, let's go back and talk about this Alaska Reads Act. And I'm going to play this clip again real quick before I bring David back on. This was part of the discussion at the Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly last Thursday when the assembly members had the legislators there on the hot seat in front of them, and they were telling them all the things that they want, all the things that, here's my Christmas wish list, Santa, give me all the money that I need. This is what they were talking about. One of the things, though, was they got into was this Alaska Reads Act, and Garrett Armstrong started talking about how, as a teacher, he's a PE teacher, he still did lead some reading groups, and he saw the success of the Alaska Reads Act, but they need more money for it. And Rob Myers, again, had the perfect response. I'm going to play this for you one more time here just before we go back to David. Here we go.
Is that last year we got one of the, not perhaps the highest scores in the Alaska Reads Act in law standards testing. I was a little part of that because even though PE teacher by day, I led a reading group, and that was excellent because anecdotally I saw 4 kids go from struggling with sentences to reading chapter books, reading Stuart Little by the end in 1 year. That was a remarkable transformation. My question to you all is, what is being done about the Alaska Reads Act? Because say, based on the numbers we have at Woodard Elementary that my principal, Grant Guy, is proud to tap and has talked to some of you about, I believe, and I've seen anecdotally firsthand, it's working. So my question to you all is there, what are we doing at the state level next legislative session to make sure that success is repeated and expanded upon across Alaska?
Senator Myers. I'm not sure I understand the question. You're telling me it's working. I don't understand what you're suggesting needs to change.
Okay. I would like to see more funding for the Alaska Reads Act. I believe it is successful, like I said, both statistically according to our school and anecdotally, according to what I personally have seen and what I've heard from other teachers. But I've also heard it is not funded fully. So what can be done to increase that funding? Like I said, expand that success we're seeing locally and see it statewide.
So effectively what you're saying is with the money that the state is spending on education, we can get the kids into school and we can keep them for 7 hours a day, but teaching them to read costs extra?
Teaching them to read costs extra? David Boyle joins us this morning. I mean, I mean, all this money we're spending, David, $18,000 to $20,000 per student, but reading costs extra. That's an optional thing. It's like you buy a car and the seats are extra. The steering wheel is extra. I mean, this is the kind of crazy stuff. Now, Melissa Burnett, the former school board president, just said in the chat room that one of the reasons why she said they're not teaching it in Anchorage because they refuse to do anything with it because the READS Act, they think, is an unfunded mandate. I thought, David, that reading and writing and arithmetic were part of the core curriculum of any school district, and that's parcel of the package, right?
Right. I just love that Rob Myers. The only problem Senator Myers has, he's trying to use common sense in this discussion, and I'm not so sure that applies. But
yeah,
I guess what the educators are saying in Anchorage anyway is that this is a new program layered on top of the current program that we have, the whole word concept basically of teaching kids how to read. No, it's not a new program layered on top of it. It's a replacement program.
Right.
You should have been doing for decades now.
Right. Stop teaching them reading the way you've been teaching them reading and use the new thing. It's the law. Just use the money that you were spending on this other thing and spend it on this. And again, I will point out, every school district in the state has done that. And the Big Five all saw great gains. Fairbanks saw a massive gain of almost 10%. And Anchorage says, no, we're not going to do it. What, David, I don't understand what's going on here.
This is the big lever that, the elephant in the room, also known as the Anchorage School District, is going to use in the legislative session. They're going to use this as the lever to get a lot more funding pushed into the BSA. And we all know, we don't know where that's going to come from except from people's pockets. It was very disconcerting to watch that school board session in Anchorage because they had 4 people lined up there from the teaching and learning department. And they weren't really taking this very seriously. They were kind of chuckling and grinning and, look. Now, on the other hand, if the district the students had really succeeded and gone up in their reading comprehension, et cetera, then proficiency, then they probably would have been bragging about it all night and being serious about it. But even the school board members, they were taken aback and they didn't know what to say. They actually wanted to move on to the next subject is what I got, the flavor I got. But the lady that's in charge of teaching and learning department, quote, "We in our district have spent many years and a lot of time making sure that our teachers are very good at teaching phonics. And that's showing because our kids are doing really well." I don't think she looked at the chart that she just presented in her PowerPoint.
You see that there was a 3-point.
Very well.
You saw that there was a 3-point drop, and our kids are doing very well. Was going in the opposite direction, but you're doing very well. And again, the Holland comment about the kids where they can't read, but they've got lots of other. What's that quote? Read that quote again one more time, David, because that just blew me away.
Which one, Michael?
The Holland, where the kids, they may not be able to read, but they've got plenty of other skills.
Yeah. Andy Holloman, who's the former teacher union president, he questioned the cutoffs for proficiency and non-proficiency, and he said, quote, "I think it would be helpful if we can convey to the public that a student that's not proficient still has a fair amount of skills."
Can't count, read, but can surely hold a broom or a shovel. They've still got plenty of skills. I mean,
they could work at a fast food place, which a lot of them do to make extra money when they're students. But because you just push the picture button on the register, you don't have to be able to read anything.
No,
but, they need to look into what's first. In 2023, 24, and 25, the years that they measured the students' proficiency, these are different groups or cohorts of students. It's not, each year a different group of students comes in. And they should look at what's going on. And I thought, well, maybe the kids are dumber when they come in because, not dumber, let's say, not as smarter because they're much. I think that would be just the opposite because of the READS Act, because it tries to bring the parents in to the picture, to read to their kids before they even get to school.
Right.
Teach them, the letter sounds, etc., and the numbers. But so it should go the other way, but it's not. But I did note that this year, you ready for this one? The Anchorage School District has lost over 900 students this year.
Yep.
So I'm thinking maybe the parents are getting a little smarter and wiser in what the Anchorage School District is and is not doing regarding teaching their kids how to read and teaching DEI, etc. Those parents may have removed the smarter kids, or the kids that have entered school a little more proficient, remove them from school and put them in correspondence schools, private schools, or home schools, whatever. So that could have an impact on the newer, the let's say 2025 group third graders being less proficient to begin with. But they should look into that and figure what is going on here. But I guess it just, they need more money. I got some more quotes here. Let's see here. But you're right. The other districts are doing very well. And remember, the Alaska Reads Act only passed by one vote.
Right. And how long? It took 6 years or something for it to pass. Right. I mean, this is a proven system that Florida.
I think it was like 3 years of hard work, and Bob Griffin is actually I hold responsible for getting that Reads Act pushed, because he went down there to Juneau, worked very hard on it, and he's the one that started it with the Mississippi Miracle.
Right.
And that's being done also in Arkansas, Louisiana, and of course they've done it in Florida as well.
Right.
So we're gonna see the real results. And Alaska will probably still be near the bottom in reading proficiency on the national NAEP test. Let's see here. Oh, so Mr. Higgins, Pat Higgins, the former school board member from the Marshall Islands, he blames the low scores on teacher turnover and, quote, "We're not competitive with the labor market," whatever that means, implying we need to pay teachers more. And he says, one thing he does say, I actually agree with him, is parents could also help. But if you look at the demographics, Suzanne is, I don't know if she's updated. I sent her an email this morning. She left out the demographic chart, unfortunately, but she'll fix it. The interesting part to me is the drops in reading scores from 2024 to 2025. The Asian demographic, Asian students dropped 6 percentage points. So that tells me, I don't know what's going on, although maybe the parents that are aware of what's going on in the Anchorage School District of Asian ethnic group, let's pull their kids out. The other group where the scores went down were the white students. They dropped 3 percentage points between 2024 and 25. But so those two major groups of students that are usually very proficient in reading and all the other test scores that are done, they went down, the Asians and the whites. And the blacks increased, the black demographic increased, let's see, can I read it, 1.5 percentage points. It's so what I'm thinking is, when you put equity principles in a school like the Anchorage School District has done, and still does, by the way, they have a DEI department with $850,000 in funding. They take the resources and shift the better teachers to those minority schools, let's say. So that may be what's one of the causes of the drop in reading.
And overall, even with an increase in the reading proficiency for Blacks and Pacific Islanders, which they went up about 1.5% and 3% respectively, even with that, overall, they're still 3 points behind where they were 2 years ago. So they're going backwards. And so again, my question is, if the basic foundation of education is reading and writing and arithmetic, and they've got all this money and they're doing all these other things, and every other district in the nation or in the state is going forwards and is moving in a positive direction, what is going on? It can't just be teachers. It can't just be that, we're not getting the funding for what we need. Because again, reading is a cornerstone of education, this is a prioritization problem, right, Dave?
Yeah, yes, it is. It's a priority problem. They don't like the leadership. Let's call the leadership for what it is. The superintendent. They don't like the Alaska Reads Act. Holds them accountable, and they don't like accountability, much less transparency. Now, Board Member Donnelly had an interesting question. He said, "Well, how did the charter schools do that have actually the Spalding curriculum or the phonics curriculum in place, and they've had it for years?" He said, "Did these schools, individual schools, perform differently?" And the teaching and learning testifiers were very reluctant to give an answer. Here's what they said, quote, "They did well, but we typically don't talk about individual schools," end quote. Well, guess what? I can go to the state's DEED website and I can find the scores for individual schools.
Right.
Why don't you want to talk about them? Well, we know why they don't want to talk about them. So Donnelly further went on. He said, "Well, did they do significantly better?" The answer was no.
Yeah,
that was the answer. So I went and looked, and those schools were Aquarian, which is a charter school, Birchwood ABC, the Eagle Academy, the #1 school in the Anchorage School District, and Northern Lights ABC, which also uses the Spalding. These have been using that method of teaching reading for years. And wow, Eagle Academy, 76% of their kids, third graders, are proficient in reading. Aquarian, 65% proficient in reading. Birchwood, 54%. And Northern Lights, 55%.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the rest of the students are stuck. So guess what?
Well,
they've been teaching phonics for years, and their kids they're literate.
Yeah.
The majority are literate.
And you know what, David, I'm running up against the break here, but you know what? That makes it even worse, because if they're looking at it as the numbers that you posted are the average for the whole district, the average reading proficiency for the whole district in Anchorage went down from 32 to 29, and these schools are at 50, 55. That means that the other schools are doing even worse because it's an average. And that is absolutely astonishing.
Well, look at Eagle Academy. 76% of the kids are proficient in reading in third grade. I mean, let's look at what we're doing well and replicate it throughout the other schools.
No. We couldn't do that. We can't do that, David. That because that would put somebody out of a job, or it wouldn't be there, whatever. It's just it does. All right. Well, folks need to go out and read this article. It's over at the Alaska Story. David Boyle, thank you for calling in and talking with us about this morning. This is some fascinating stuff.
My pleasure, Max.
But I appreciate you coming on board, David. Thanks for being part of it today. Okay, we're up against the break. I've got another phone call. Looks like Barbara's on the line. We're going to continue here in just a moment. We'll be back. Phone line 73864. This is really going to be some of the last political stuff we do for the rest of the year. Next week, all Christmas, all holiday stuff, all just kind of fun stuff. Rod Pyle going to be joining us on Wednesday. We are going to go over the governor's budget on Tuesday with Brad. But other than that, it's going to be all Christmas all the time. Because my name's on the show. That's why. All right, we got to go. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
Listened to by more staffers in Juneau than any other show, because their bosses told them to. And after what they just heard, oh man, they're going to be pissed.
You're a bad, bad man.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay, we are in the break right now, and lost 900 students. Fairbanks lost another 500 students. Here's the thing. These districts don't understand what's going on. We're going to keep doing things the way that we've been doing them, and we're going to keep telling you that, you can't do it yourself, and we've got to do it, and blah, 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 blah. And yet the stuff, they just keep hemorrhaging students out there. Hemorrhaging students. That should be a red flag for you. And quite honestly, again, if you're sending your kids to these schools in this way, you really need to rethink what's going on here. Find a different solution. Charter school, homeschool, teacher share, Montessori, learning pod, whatever it is. Dude, if you were in the Anchorage School District, there's got to be a better way. Got to be a better way in this bunch. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Fairbanks has lost 680 students this year, David said, according to the ADM, which is the average daily membership. That's the student count in October that was just published last week. According to Melissa. Melissa said it came out a month ago. Because Harold said, there's no way. It couldn't possibly be it. I mean, again, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, you can go up there and take a look at this. All right, Barbara's on the line, and we're gonna get in with her. What are some of the other stories that I was going to get to today that I don't think I'm going to get to? I guess I just don't care about them that much at this point. Well, there's two different stories. One is an opinion piece in the ADN that came out about a week ago. That we'd mentioned it with Brad the other day, just in passing, but this is a great piece. It's from Ed Martin Jr., and it reads that the permanent fund dividend should be a right, not a raffle. And then Ed also wrote a column in Must Read that talked about the PFD reductions and how they're actually subsidizing the unorganized borough. And this is an interesting piece that probably deserves its own hour for sure to talk about subsidized non-organized borough and boroughs and some of the problem. Now, I've always been of the mind that unorganized boroughs, they should be left alone. But at the same time, they should also not be subsidized by the organized boroughs. If you decide you don't want to have an organized borough, more power to you. I mean, I considered moving to an unorganized borough at one point because it felt like it was the only way I'd ever be able to own my property, right? Because they don't have property taxes. And yet at the same time, they can't demand the same services and everything else that organized boroughs enjoy because they pay for those things with their property taxes. And anyway, it's an interesting discussion, and so we should get into that sometime in the near future. But that's the second article from Ed Martin Jr. And then there was a third article from Ken McCarty talking about how Eagle Exit is not really moving. It's been kind of stymied for years. And he said the other option for an Eagle River, instead of an exit, is to ask to be annexed to the Mat-Su. And I thought that was a fascinating discussion. That is a fascinating discussion. Anyway, we'll see where that comes from, and maybe we should have a discussion on that as well. But in the new year, we'll have a discussion about that in the new year because ain't nobody got time for that right now. All right. I think that's I think that's it. I think we're good to go. We're all caught up. And we're about 15 seconds out, so it worked out well, huh? Brian's got the band hammer in there. People, Brian, if you need to, do what you need to do. All right, we got to go. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
The Michael Duke Show, proudly splitting the left versus right dichotomy. Yeah, I had to look that word up too. I don't think it means what he thinks it means. Here he is, though. That guy, Michael Dukes, the one with the show.
Okay, we're continuing on today. Kind of a little just freewheeling, freestyle. Sorry, I almost said something else. Welcome back. We're continuing on. Phone lines are open today, 319-527-3864. line. She's been on hold for a bit here, so we appreciate her waiting around for us. What's on your mind today, Barbara? What's going on?
Well, I have so much on my mind today. Merry Christmas, everybody. But I wanted to point out two things. First, that Ed Martin piece that the funding, subsidizing the unorganized boroughs is really spot on. And I hope people take the time to read it. But the other thing I wanted to mention, and I don't know if David Boyle is aware of this, there is a new method in reading science. And if you go to Alaskans Against Common Core, I put the link to the Josh Stossel did a segment on it, and I've got that posted on Alaskans Against Common Core. And I think people need to be aware this is a new reading method, and I don't regard it as particularly favorable myself. And the research is not very favorable either toward it. But it is grounded in DEI, and so it's being glommed onto by a lot of the people who are of that mindset.
And what is this new method, Barbara, that you're talking about? What's the new method of? I mean, it's outside of obviously phonics or what they've been doing.
No, there's no phonics. They don't want you to sound out the word. They want you to look at the picture and guess the word.
Okay. So you got to get pictures of a bazillion things to be able to learn how words work, or what?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, again, I don't understand. I've never understood this problem with reading, Barbara. Let me sidebar for just a second. I've never understood this problem with reading because phonics has worked for, I don't know, years, decades. Phonics work just fine. Sound the word out. You can read almost any word if you understand phonetics. You may not understand the word, but you can at least sound it out and read it. And this whole idea of changing how we do things, and now pictures with words and all this other kind of stuff, rote memorization of the word so that you recognize it, but you can't spell it never made any sense to me. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel?
Here's why, Dick. Here's why. If you are in the belief that you want everybody to be equal, you have two options. One is to bring the bottom up or to bring the top down. And if you can't bring the bottom up, what do? Bring the top down.
Yeah. Well,
and that's what the whole dumbing of America has been about.
Well, that's frustrating. And is this something that they're trying to push here in Alaska? I mean, they've just got the READS Act in, so that would seem antithetical to that. So what's going on with it?
It's making its way through the colleges of education, which is what is producing the teachers. So, it doesn't take long, maybe 2 years for things in colleges of education to make their way into the schools.
Right.
And that's what you got going on.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving us a heads up on it, but that's some crazy stuff right there. I mean, again, we see what's working. What's working is phonics and reading.
I'm
why?
a very strong advocate of the READS Act. So, and I think phonics instruction is the way to go. And I'm not against context clues for meaning, but hey, this stuff that they've got going on in the quote new method is not good. So
yeah.
Anyway, just thought I'd alert people to that. They may not be aware that there's this new method out there, just like the new math years ago was not particularly good.
Yeah. So, no, exactly. All right. Well,
anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody, and amen.
All right. Well, thank you, Barbara, for calling in. We appreciate you being part of it today. Sight reading, says Brian. The argument between phonics and sight reading is not either or. No, you're right. I mean, phonics can be useful, and then you put, you put an apple up there, and it's then you could spell it out. So you've got sight. Sight can help, but to just teach people, I mean, how many pictures would you have to have just for all the things to try and have them memorize the words instead of being able to sound it out? I mean, can you get a picture of onomatopoeia? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. How do you get a word? How do you get a picture for psychological? I mean, it's anyway. I guess get so frustrated. And again, why anybody would want to subject their kids to this kind of madness is beyond me at this point. It's pretty crazy, pretty crazy. All right. Sight reading, says Frank. Did not the Egyptians have that mastered in hieroglyphics? Maybe. I mean, I guess we'll see what it says. All right. What else we got? With the story that Barbara was talking about, by the way, the Ed Martin thing on the unorganized boroughs. We don't really have time to get into this today. Maybe we might be able to touch on it a little bit in the next hour if we don't get any other phone calls. It's a great article that talks about how the unorganized boroughs are essentially being subsidized by the reduction in the PFD, which to a point is true. And I for one have been a fan of unorganized boroughs on the one side, because I believe that people should have their own ability for self-determination. If they want to live in an area that is unorganized, then that should be their right. But on the other hand, I've also been a true opponent of then subsidizing those communities with other dollars and having them having the same expectations of having the same services and infrastructure that an organized borough has, because they have no way to pay for it. It shouldn't be up to the state to take care of those things. There's a lot to unpack there. And this Ed Martin article, which is over on Must Read, is a good piece for that. It came out yesterday, and the headline of the piece reads, "PFD is the unorganized boroughs," and you should go out and read it. It's an interesting read, and like I said, we could probably do a full hour show just on this component of it as well. So we may gloss over that here in the next segment and come back to it. Ed also wrote another piece, which was an opinion piece in the ADN, talking about how the permanent fund dividend should be a right and not a raffle. And it's also a great piece. And I think Ed may have been listening to Ed may have been listening a little bit to Brad Keithley, because he talks about how the Permanent Fund Corporation has overhead and waste, and how their returns aren't good. And I mean, it's a great article as well. And I've posted both of them up in the chat room if you want to go take a look at them and get a link on them. Anyway, we're going to we can get to that as well. All right. Let's I guess we'll come up. We're up on the break, so we'll come to the break and we'll do one final segment, and then you guys can. The phone lines are open, so if you guys want to sound off or argue with me on any of this stuff, or just talk about something fun, anticipate that we will do that together in the next segment. Tomorrow's Firearms Friday. I don't know who we're going to talk to tomorrow or what, but it's going to be the last full Firearms Friday for the year. We're going to do some stuff next week, but just whatever strikes my fancy. All right, my friends, back with more of the Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. We'll be returning right after this.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay. Sorry. There we go. Sorry, I'm it's a little cold in the studio here. I had my heater running here. Yeah. Barbara's just phonos is the Greek word for I hear. Tele means at a distance. So I hear from a distance is telephone. See? See how that works? I love that. I love that. That's great. Word roots are so cool. When you get into word roots, I was a little bit of a word nerd there for a while, and I was reading about word roots, and it's fascinating. It's a fascinating thing to get into. Fat Ray says, is Delta Junction unorganized? They don't have property tax, but every time I drive through here, that place looks much better managed. Yeah, no, Delta is an unorganized borough, unorganized area. It's not a borough. It's just an unorganized area. And yeah, they do well. But a lot of that, again, is driven by state dollars. That's the Christian. Rick asked the question, at what point in life do I wake up and think it's Christmas every day? I don't know, Ebenezer. I mean, you're just supposed to keep it in your heart that way, right? Supposed to keep it in your heart that way. That's what Ebenezer did. I'm going to keep Christmas in his heart every day. And I don't know. Maybe it would lose its specialness if every day was Christmas Day for you. Maybe it would lose its specialness. But I feel good about it. Anyway, what is going on here? See what else you guys have been talking about. Kim Bates said, if I really want to understand, where'd she just put that? Dukes, you need to listen to the Sold a Story podcast to understand how we got here with reading. I keep hearing about that podcast, and I have not listened to it yet. It's on my list of podcasts to get to. But it is, I keep hearing about it, and what a great podcast. And then she links the podcast down later on in the chat room. And unfortunately, for some reason, I can't. I guess they're working on it. The links, the hyperlinks. I can't click the hyperlinks in the chat room through my unified chat widget, which is this little thing right here where you see everybody's chats from the different platforms. For some reason, I can't click on the links on that. They're working on it. Apparently, it's going to make it good. So, every day when you wake up, Rick, is a present, says Renee. And Rick said, we are in the age of information overload. Rick, and quite honestly, this is one of the reasons why I have stopped. I used to be plugged into the information superhighway on everything, right? All the national stuff, all the things, and I've learned to pace myself. I really have. I've learned to pace myself. I don't go to Drudge every morning and then peruse all my favorite websites, news websites, and do everything else. When I do show prep, I have a handful of state websites that I go to. I look for the newest stories or ones that interest me, and that's it. I don't go. I'm with you, because part of the problem is that it is information overload. We are so inundated. And quite honestly, I think that contributes in a lot of ways to the feelings of helplessness that we get in some people, because they're just so overloaded with information at every time. The Weather Channel, watching the Weather Channel, that's probably a better use of your time at that point, Rick, for sure. Terry says, Rick, if we wake up above ground, it's Christmas. That's the gift that just keeps on giving. Absolutely. That and Taco Bell. Those are the two gifts that just keep on giving. So, yeah. You guys are making fun of my word nerdiness here. Jeez. Because David just said, poly means many and ticks are bloodsuckers. So polyticks is many bloods. I get what you're saying there. Absolutely. The Weather Channel is the only job where you can get it wrong all the time and not be fired. And Taco Bell axed the grilled stuffed burrito. It was an assault on freedom. I had one of their buffalo chicken burritos the other day, wraps or whatever. Terry went up to Soldotna for something and brought me back one. Oh, man, I like some spicy food, but oh, man, that was a new level of spiciness. probably had something to do with the fact that I dumped a whole packet of Diablo sauce on it at top of it. But I mean, it was just the gift that keeps on giving. All right. Here we go. We got to get to it. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
Public enema number one. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number one, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Duke Show.
Okay. We were just talking during the break about how, the overload of information, and we were kind of expounding on that, that we are in a day and age of tips. Something happens in, New York or Boston or something across the country. We know about it 5 minutes later here in Alaska, right? And and I asked myself the question one time, I was thinking about this and I thought, does that make it better? Does that make us better as people that we have access to all this information, especially when a lot of times it's things that we can do nothing about? I mean, that's an honest to God question. Do you think that having access to this instant information, while beneficial in certain aspects or certain applications, thinking for business or for strategic things, maybe defense or military thing. I mean, having that information at your fingertips in a given instant is great. But what does it do? What does it do for us as individuals? We are in the midst of an information overload. We really are. Things that we can do nothing about are forced down our throats at 1,000,000 miles a second, right? And it kind of, that information overload. And then of course we're told that what's going on in the DC Beltway is so important and we should stay informed and we should stay on top of it. And then we forget about what's happening in our own backyard. We're not paying attention to what's going, more people in this state, I guarantee you, know more about what's happening in Washington, D.C. than they know about what's coming up in this next year's budget or what the big battles or the big challenges are for the state of Alaska. So, I mean, while I'm a huge fan of technology, obviously, I mean, I've embraced technology in every aspect of my life. We're broadcasting a radio show across the internet, not just through audio, but through video on a bunch of different platforms. And I use AI to help me concise some of my little points down and put little videos up and do some of these other things. I mean, all those things, I'm embracing technology, but at the same time, sometimes it's too much, man. It's too much. Maybe we should talk about it as a New Year's resolution. That maybe I could get a bunch of listeners to resolve to pay close attention to only what's near us. What's going on in our community? What's happening in our... I'm not saying you can't go out and, because I still see the big news stories and I still see it and I read about a few of them. But quite honestly, over the last 2 years, I have stopped reading about a lot of those things other than just like the highlights reel of what's, kind of what's going. I don't dig down into it because I can't affect it. And unless it's something that's affecting Alaska directly or me directly, I just don't see the point in that. So maybe we should talk about New Year's resolutions. And the New Year's resolution should be, let's pay closer attention to what's going on at home and kind of ignore what's happening in Washington. I mean, what's going on? Why do you care about things that you have no control over? And I've asked this question to many people who talk to me, people They just walk up to me or, figure out I'm a radio host. And then they start going on and on about, oh, this thing that's happening in Washington and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, what can we do about it? Well, nothing. Then why are you wasting all this energy and emotion and time and everything else focusing on it? Sure, you acknowledge it, it's there, and you go, oof, man, that's a tough one, isn't it? And then you move on to something locally that you can change. That's what we should be. That's what we should be focusing on. Brian just said all that information, and we're still dumber than a bag of hammers. Well, I sometimes wonder if that's partially by design. Right? I mean, if you're hit with so much information and you can't collate it and you can't do anything with it, then what good is it to have all the information? If it's so much that you can't collate it, you can't organize it, and or you can't do anything with it, then what's the point? I mean, it's crazy. And I disagree. Fat Ray just said you can change things locally about like you can change things nationally. I disagree with that. I mean, respectfully, Fat Ray, I think you're wrong. I think you can change things locally. I've changed things locally in the past. I've done work to change things on a local level. I mean, I stopped the annexation I didn't stop it single-handedly, but I was a big part of changing when North Pole, the city of North Pole, was talking about annexing all the areas around them. I worked hard. I gathered a room full of angry people. We got them to stop voting in that direction. I worked hard for grandfather rights when I was on the assembly. As chair of the RSAC committee in Fairbanks, I helped some of the road service areas gain their own autonomy from the borough. I mean, those are differences that you can make. We've helped get people elected in state government. We've tried to make some changes there. Is it tougher? The higher you go, the tougher it gets, right? City councils to borough assemblies to state legislatures, to the higher levels, the harder it gets. But you could still make those. You could still make those changes. But you should be focusing on the local stuff first. Because, ideally, sure, we can make a change in Washington, but it takes more than one person. It takes a groundswell. So get your own house in order first. And it's not just in voting. It doesn't have to just be a vote. I mean, you can make a difference in your community. The whole annexation thing, I was not an elected official. I was just a resident. You can make a difference. And it is hard and it's worth it. But would you have time to do that if you were all focused on everything that was happening at the national level all the time? If you read my statement as you can't change anything, you didn't understand my statement. That's not the way I read your statement. I'm just saying that you could change things locally about how you can change things nationally. I would argue that it has to be done locally first. And that it does include voting and it includes a lot of other things. But I guess my whole point here is the focus. Focus is the thing, right? What are we focusing on? What's important to us? Well, what should be important to us is our local communities, our neighbors, our neighborhood councils, our road service areas, then up to the city councils, and then up from the city councils to the borough assemblies. That's what should be important to us because that stuff affects our lives day to day. It's more important than ever. So it's a good thing. Our borough is not headed in the right direction, says Miguel. I know. And again, how much of that is caused by the fact that many of these people who you would consider to be in your camp philosophically, right? More conservative people. How is it that more of those people can tell you about everything that happened down on K Street in Washington, D.C. more than they can tell you what's going on in their own borough assembly? right? So if you guys are going to make a New Year's resolution this year, maybe the resolution should be to stop giving as much attention or brain power or whatever you want to call it to big national issues that you can't control, to the things that you can have a control over, things that you can make a difference on. What happened in your road service area? What happened in your community council or your city council or whatever the lowest subdivision of politics is in your area. Maybe that's where we should be focusing on. And then focusing on the important things too, like family, and understanding, again, the thing we started out the show with today is that even people who are on opposite sides of the political fence from you, they're your neighbors. And you probably have more in common with them than you do somebody who's on your team in Washington, D.C. Just remember that. Right. Just remember that. Not all of them, but most of them. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Well, that does it for today. Tomorrow is Firearms Friday. I'll track down a guest or two. Willie Waffle will be here for sure for our weekend movie review. Next week, we're going to have Chris Chang on for Friday and Willie. That'll be fun. And we'll continue on. Appreciate you guys. It's been a fun show today. I know, kind of everywhere, a little helter-skelter. That's okay. Sometimes we need that. Be kind. Love one another. Live well. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of you. We will see you tomorrow morning on The Michael Duke Show. Have a great one. All right. Well, again, don't forget that the holiday recipe contest is up right now. I'm looking at you, Miguel. If those ice cream French toast recipes not up there, I'm going to be very disappointed. Just put your favorite family recipe up there for Christmas or the holidays. Go do it right now. Right? That rum cake. You should go try that rum cake my wife posted up there. I had a piece last night. So good. So good. All right, my friends. We will see you guys tomorrow. Be kind. Love one another. Live well. We'll see you then. Wait. Fat Ray just said, I'm from the South. We don't share recipes. Is it communist in the South? I'm just asking. Come on. Seriously, dude. Sharing is caring. We'll see you.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.